Hello everybody. I thought that I would make this little video because I was just a bit astounded at the fact that around Tampa Bay and some of these islands, you know, outside by Cuba and that they lost their seas. It wasn't just one place, it was 2 or 3 or more places that lost their seas. And the only thing we see like this is like tsunamis waiting to come in. I just thought it was really strange that nobody was really worried. I mean, there's a picture later on in here at the end showing that that's water there and it was a beautiful sea. And then later on it's explaining that instead of the tide coming in, the water was going the wrong way and going out. But no big sort of, I'm not saying that there wasn't flooding, because obviously the newsman's going to show that houses close to the water when it comes back in, but it didn't quite come in like that, did it? It came back in. I mean, one of them says it took hours for the water to start coming back in, and then it would probably be, it was till like this happened a few days before Sunday, and then it took 24 hours, whatever it is, for the beach to come back in. So we're all learning that, there you go, that's what it should look like. It must look a bit freaky to look out and not see any water. But it's just incredible that this happened to so many beaches, and that supposedly the hurricane sucked the water up. And yeah, sucked the water up and then rained it all over the lands. That's what the stories were. Some of it must have happened like that. But I don't know what to make of this. Anyway, just put your comments below this video. I just thought it was very interesting to make a little video just saying that these seas disappeared and that they came back, but not like they said. I mean, I watched one and it said 30-foot waves. I'm not saying flooding didn't happen, and you know, with all this happening at the same time today, well, yesterday was 9/11. It's all quite incredible, really. But yeah, anyway, I'm just going to play the rest of this. Don't quite know what to make of it.
Alright, y'all, Hurricane Irma has got, this is crazy, the ocean is gone, okay? Hurricane Irma is so strong that it's pulling water into the core. Now they say that this usually happens, this is like a sign of a tsunami. I see animals out there walking around where the ocean used to be. But let me continue on following.
extraordinary footage from the Bahamas shows the shoreline receded much farther than normal, exposing what is usually the ocean floor. Twitter user @KDK from Long Island, Bahamas wrote on Friday, "I am in disbelief right now. This is Long Island, Bahamas, and the ocean water is missing. That's as far as they see pound Hurricane Irma." The strange video shows her walking on the exposed ocean floor, which is dry and covered in large shells. Another Twitter user tweeted a photo of the exposed beach at a different beach in the Bahamas and showed it was back to normal within less than a day. Hurricane Irma, which hit the Bahamas on Friday, is so powerful that it has altered the shape of the ocean in Long Island, but it will likely be back to normal by Sunday afternoon. Pressure in a hurricane center is low, and Irma is so strong that it is pulling water into its core, sucking it away from the ocean, according to the Washington Post. Deputy weather editor and meteorologist Angela Fritz explained that this may be the result of what she calls a hurricane bulge. In the center of the storm, pressure is very low, which draws water upward into itself. She also noted the wind was blowing away from the shoreline on Saturday, which is why water has not filled the void yet.
Looking at a video of Key Largo, the beach, and the Florida Keys, Key Islands, or so on and so forth. The water has been sucked out of it. This was after Irma, but this isn't the only place now. There was the Bahamas section called Long Island, but now also Tampa Bay. Before the hurricane even arrived, the shoreline water was completely sucked away into this hurricane. I don't know what the end result of any of this will be, because if you go and see the live video on CNN, and I'm not going to show it just in case I can't show it, but it's, very tame looking. It's extraordinarily tame. Whereas, right there, CNN Live, and they've got these guys out on the streets, another guy is driving around. I don't see them going here and investigating this phenomenon at all. NBC News put out an article where they're just sort of explaining it away as if it's, it just sucked this low pressure. I've never heard of a hurricane doing anything of the sort. I wonder if this is being manipulated so that as it travels over land where hurricanes lose their strength, if now it's got a fresh supply of water to maintain its behemoth size. I don't know. I'm just saying. I've never seen anything like this. I had a couple family who are wonderfully respectful, and I appreciate your input, and say that this phenomenon has happened before. I haven't found anything to say that, and it was a family member who mentioned that the Sahara was once it wasn't water body, but it was in a boreal state about 15,000 years ago, and I had done some research into that. The Sahara dried out gradually. It didn't dry out in 1-2 hours. There's a huge difference. This is the hurricane itself having such a low pressure, just like when you're sucking liquid through a straw. And I see that it's been lowered went down to a category 3. They upped it to a category 4. Did they up it to a category 4 again because it sucked all the water out of Long Island on the Bahamas? And that allowed it to grow more? And is this now going to allow it to grow more? I showed the article that the brother had shared with me about, and I'm not sure, weather as a force multiplier. Owning the weather in 2025. They've been studying this stuff. This was written back in, I do believe, 1996. So, how long have they been perfecting this stuff? Yep, 1996. So that they could enact exactly the recommendations that are in this document. I don't know. I'm not the government. But I know something's very strange. I know this is not normal. 3 beaches, one right after the other, sucked completely barren of water. And what happens to all the life forms that were in there? I feel for them. Hopefully they just, as the water started thinning out, they swam back towards deeper, levels. And it didn't happen so furiously and quickly that they were sucked up with it. There's no film of the water actually, how does that happen? How's that happen? No? That's crazy. That's crazy. Look at that boat. Just like, what? So something's up. And we can ignore it, because what it is that as a private citizen, whether I don't consider us citizens of this hell, but if you are a private, just individual, because you don't have a HAARP weather system in your backyard or in your bathroom, we make the assumption that nobody else has it. But no, you do have it kind of in a tiny way. It's called your microwave oven. And you see what it does to the food. There's no heat in there. It's waves of energy, and that they send out because they built a spectral array so gigantic it can actually affect the atmosphere itself and change the configuration of everything. It has been shown it can cause earthquakes. I theorize, and a lot of other people theorize, that's what they did to our family in Haiti, because they found out that there was gold there and oil. And they want that, right? So just because you don't understand the technology, and we have this mystical idea about the physics of nature, no, there's nothing magical going on here. This is just science. Same thing with actually the creation of existence. We have this expectation that the Most High has got a magic wand and he's going to, sprinkle fairy dust. No. That's the way the Caucasoid thinks. That's why the Most High said, don't follow these people. Don't cut a tree down in the forest and deck it with balls and silver. Okay? Because they do that stuff out of fear. And there's so many little... And in the movie, the conclusion wasn't that each of us have a right to our privacy. The conclusion was none of us should have privacy because it keeps everybody doing the right thing. No, you got to do the right thing because that's what's in you. No, you do the right thing because you know it's the right thing. No, not because somebody's watching you and that's going to force you to do the right thing. That's pretty shallow. But that is them talking about themselves, and that's what that circle is. That's the difference between the circle and the spiral. The circle, you could put it in a material, two-dimensional, three-dimensional space, more for them, a two-dimensional space. And it's static. It doesn't move, it doesn't change, it can't take in any new information and grow. That's why their satanic pentagram has that circle. It's a star that's trapped. This life that has no ability to move beyond what it learned yesterday and will forever stay in the same mindset thereof. That's why they don't change. That's why whenever they come at us, it's the same talking points. It's the same insults. Huh? So that's the wreath. Christmas time. Ooh, go put a wreath up on the door. Because that's them and their circle. And that's the weakness of believing the circle. Right? Life is 360, spherical, three-dimensional. It moves, it spirals up, it does this, it does that. It is perfect, pure science. You research the divine nature of the spiral. Okay? So these people are trying to keep us with whatever method they can in their circle of hell. And they'll use fear to do it. That's their last and best weapon. And they've been building up so they can really do events that are truly horrifying to view. But don't limit the Most High to their circle. He's beyond them completely. If this is happening, it's only because he knows there's so many of us who still don't. There's a ship all stranded all the way out there. I guess that's where the water is, but it looks like that ship. It's a shallow water. Okay? He knows that some of us really have to be clunked over the head several times. Hopefully it's not a projectile from the coming Irma. Okay? There he is. Here we go. Most High right there. His true color. His true way. Melanated fully. Right? So don't let these people scare you. They're not in control of anything. They have their heart array, little toys and all the rest of it. But they don't control matter and antimatter. You know? They don't, they try. There was a time when they tried to create antimatter in a chamber, and they did for a couple seconds. And then it evaporated immediately. They don't publicize that. Right? But you could look it up. You could do the research and you can find out. I'm not kidding you. Right? The Most High has a limitation for whatever these people have to offer. Trust that if you know there is no limitation on him and you do as he commands, well, if it's in his desire, this is his house, then you're going to be just fine. All right. I love you, family. Peace and blessings.
You were just talking to the sheriff, and you were showing us, maybe you can show us again, Jeff, for those who weren't with us, that the water is going, if you will, in the wrong direction right now, and explain what's happening.
Yeah, it's the winds. It's these outer bands from Irma. Remember, we're not getting it here, Kate. The worst of it until overnight tonight, so almost about 12 hours away. But the winds are already sucking the water out of Tampa Bay. This is surreal to see. The water should be going that way, right? But instead, look, the current is going that way, pulling it out into the bay and into the Gulf. This sets up potential catastrophic flooding for later on tonight when Irma hits. A huge surge because the water is being sucked out, and then it will come crashing back with Irma. Where I'm standing right now, Kate, see this sand? Yeah, a few hours ago, this was all water, several feet of water, so it's all being sucked out. I also want to talk about why Tampa is so vulnerable to this. They haven't had a hurricane here in nearly 100 years. 1921 was the last time they had a hurricane here. There were only 135,000 people that lived in this area. Now it's nearly 3 million people. The World Bank did a study several years ago saying Tampa is one of the most vulnerable cities in the world, number 7 in the world, for how much damage there will be for a hurricane like this. And here's why. It's a low-lying area. A low-lying area with lots of roads like this. This is a road right over here. And can you imagine how that's going to be cut off so quickly during Irma tonight when the flooding comes in? I want to show you a bridge. Look at all these homes over here. All these apartment buildings right here at sea level. All the way out there, Bill. Can you get that out there? It's far. But there are a lot of bridges like that, Kate, that are very, very low-lying. That's what Tampa looks like, surrounded by water. You got the Gulf, you got Tampa Bay, and now you have all this water going out that will get forced right back in with violence tonight. And that's why it's going to be a very scary night for a lot of people here.
And it's a beautiful city in normal times. And you pointed out, Jeff, they've had a lot of development there over the past decade. They brought a lot of companies in, a lot of industry. So there's a lot of new growth, and there are a lot of tall buildings.